Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Masterclass on AI workflow automation, where you will learn how to build and launch processes in minutes. I'm Hannah, Digital Marketing and Event Specialist here at FlowForma, and I'll be your host for today's event. And before we get started, here's just some housekeeping. So this webinar is being recorded, and if you need any help, you can email info@flowforma.com. Your lines are muted, but we want to make it as interactive as possible. So we're going to have polls. There's a chat box as well. So make sure you pop in your questions too to get them answered. And we will have a survey at the end. And then we're on to David Shanley. So let me introduce you, our solutions expert at FlowForma and your masterclass leader for today. So David is committed to supporting organizations to evaluate FlowForma and demonstrate its proof of value. David has over 9 years experience on the FlowForma process automation platform, and he is an expert when it comes to everything process. Hi, David. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Anna. Hi, everybody.
Thank you. Perfect. And we have a really exciting masterclass for you all today. So here's just a quick overview of what we're going to get done in our session, hopefully. So we're looking at how AI is transforming the way businesses automate, and then we'll have a quick introduction to FlowForma process automation platform, and we'll look at a few use cases too. And the most exciting part, of course, the live masterclass. We'll also look at a roadmap for the upcoming AI features as well, in addition to a Q&A. And I'm just going to pass you on to our expert, Dave. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Hannah. So this slide essentially is about how AI is transforming the way organizations automate. It's everything from being able to build out a process, or rather have AI build out a process for you in minutes. It's a very, very quick turnaround time. It's the ability to digitize processes at speed throughout your organization and scale up. And it's all about ensuring that automated unstructured tasks, you're able to facilitate the automation of those, and you're also able to enhance compliance, and all the way through to smarter insights. So all this information you're collating, you can report on. So you could use FlowForma Insights BI tool to surface up all of that data and charts and be able to make meaningful decisions based on that data. So FlowForma process automation. FlowForma is essentially a 5-in-1 toolkit. It combines forms, workflow, document generation, insights, which is our reporting BI tool, and FlowForma's AI agents in a single build interface. Now, the single build interface, as you'll see as we progress through the masterclass, is key. It's all about having one single point at which you go into builds and to apply changes to pre-existing builds. So you'll always have that context when you're applying business logic and workflow logic to your process. You're not stepping from an app rendering component into a workflow rendering component and trying to weave the two together. It's a single build interface. And this is all powered by AI. So we're going to be covering off AI from two different directions. The first one is FlowForma Copilot. So FlowForma Copilot is essentially like your business process assistant, and that's powered by agentic AI. So you'll be able to build out processes in a matter of seconds using agentic AI. Reason you can do that is we're going to be using the large language model, or the LLM, and the retrieval augmented generation RAG model. So that allows us to align our data and schema with what's returned from Gen AI or AI, and in turn then you're able to build out then that context-aware process definition. So you'll have your framework, your scaffolding in place, you'll have all your steps in your form in place, you'll have all your questions, you'll have recommended business rules in situ as well. So the time to value is accelerated massively. What would have taken hours to build out by adding steps and questions and rules yourself is built literally in a matter of seconds, as you'll see shortly. AI summarization and AI agents, that's essentially a personal assistant for users of FlowForma forms. So AI summarizations allows the user to instruct AI to carry out actions on their behalf and return the results. So you might be uploading a document or accessing a file, and you want to extract information from that file. You can have a kind of a rigid, hard-coded in instruction for AI, or you can actually allow the user to define what that instruction is in a question in the form. So we'll be covering off both scenarios. We're also going to have AI summarization as well. So AI summarization, again, is for the end user working with a FlowForma form. That allows the automatic generation of a summary of your form and gives you kind of a clear snapshot or visualization of your process at a point in time. So those are the areas we're going to cover off. We're going to start with FlowForma Copilot, which is all about having that business process assistant powered by agentic AI. And then we're going to move through to AI summarization, AI agents, where we're helping drive efficiencies for the end user of the form. So processes you could digitize with FlowForma, it's across the board. All of these obviously are human-centric processes. They require the input of a person. And it's literally across every vertical. It's across every section within an organization, from HR all the way through to health and safety, compliance. So I'll just leave that slide up for a moment to let you take a look and you get a sense as to how diverse it is. Thanks, Hannah. Again, this is just a quote from one of our customers, the Gallagher Group. It's a large construction company in the UK. And again, I'll just give you a moment to take a look at that, and I'll just have a comment on it afterwards. Again, as turnaround time is key here. It's the speed at which you can digitize. End user adoption and the speed at which you can digitize is key to the success of any kind of a digital transformation journey. So allowing the user to quickly build out these processes, test them out, make refinements and changes to them is key. The process has to align perfectly with end user expectations, and end user adoption is always integral. So if you're able to build out your processes at speed, make refinements, it's going to be much more successful.
Now, just before we get to the best part, the live masterclass, we just have a quick poll. So I'll just pop it up here. Just bear with me one moment. So the question is AI for processes. Where do you stand? Are you ready to roll? Are you curious and you just want to see more? Or it's not a priority, you're just kind of interested in what it can do. Thanks so much for participating in that poll. And then we're on to the best part, the AI masterclass. So I'm going to hand it over to your expert.
Excellent. That's great. So again, just to recap, we're coming at this from two different angles. One is from the generation using agentic AI of your actual physical process. So the scaffolding and framework of that process. And then we're going to move through to our AI assistance business rules. That's our AI agent and AI summarization rules. And they are to help provide assistance to the FlowForma form end user. So we're going to start off with our FlowForma Copilot. Before I start into it, I just want to give you a context here as to what a FlowForma form looks like. And then we're going to go in and we're going to build out, or rather AI is going to build out a suite of different processes for us using natural language and using file uploads. So this is SharePoint team site dashboard. You can access FlowForma forms via your browser, via an email communication with a link. Or we also have a mobile app for both iOS and Android, which has offline capabilities. And just to throw in here now quickly as well, we also have an engage feature, which allows you to interact with external parties using either anonymous or secure access, where a single step is sent out to that individual and they are able to submit that and feed it into the internal process. So you might have, for example, 200 internal users, but you might have the need for 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 potential External users. If you use anonymous access, those users can interact with a FlowForma form at defined steps, and there is no FlowForma end user overhead. So I'm just going to step in here into a forms page here, and I'm just going to open up a pre-existing form here. It's a recording of issues non-conformance form. And it's currently sitting on the second step here. Just to talk a little bit about the layout, it's fully customizable. You can have your logo positioned in the top right. You can texture any coloring or branding you wish into the color of the step boxes here, all the way through into the question controls and your primary color here in the buttons. The gray step bar here shows the currently engaged in step in white. So step is like a task. It's a block of content you can attribute to a person or to a group of people. And we're currently on that second step here. I can click on the previous step and I can review the submission. I can see what's been input by that individual. We've got a repeating table here. We've got a non-conformance category, a subcategory description, and so on. And it's also generated a document here as well. So we have our generate document capabilities here as well. So if I'm on this second step and I click submit, for example, it's going to leave my desk and return me to my dashboard. It's going to move through to the next step. There's rules firing here under the hood at different trigger points. So we've got question change rules firing on questions. So if I reject, I'm asked why. If I accept, it's gone. So you have that smart form interaction for the end user. We also have rules firing on submit or save. So if I'm clicking submit, I might be assigning the next step to an individual. In this case here, if I click submit, I'm going to be passing it back to the previous step. So I just wanted to show you this very quickly, just so you could get a sense as to what the end product is going to look like. And again, you can see these steps are moving sequentially from raising issues all the way through to actions. And then we have the assignment of actions to individual action owners here based on the table input here. And these two steps here are running in parallel. So they can be interacted with both parties at the same time. So when I click submit, it leaves my desk and it's gone to the next person. And then I go back to my dashboard here. So that's what a form looks like. And what we're going to do now is we're going to build out a suite of process. I keep saying we, it's a royal we. It's our agentic AI is going to be doing the building. I'm just going to be sitting back and waiting for the return. So I'm going to go in here and create a new process flow, which is your process definition essentially. I'm just going to call it webinar. Just give a moment now to just open up. So you'll see here we have our designer, and there's quite a bit to take in here, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting off with copilot. So we won't have a process in place here. What we're going to do is we're going to build one from scratch. So we start off at this point here. So you have your instructions here as to how you use copilot. It's all about being precise, using the appropriate keywords and terminology like step, process, question. And again, you can just fire away here then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build out, I'm going to start with this one here. And again, I'm going to copy paste in rather than two-finger type. So in this box here, I can paste in my instructions. It's all natural language. We're going to start with natural language building. Then we're going to move through to uploading artifacts in here, like a pre-existing form or a hand-drawn flow diagram. So I'm asking here to create all steps in new product innovation process. And if I click my send message here, it's going to return in a few moments the suggested steps, questions, and also business rules. So you'll see here, scroll back up to the top, you'll see the steps here. So each of these is a step in a FlowForma form. And again, as I mentioned briefly earlier on, because we're integrated into the retrieval augmented generation RAG model, we're able to submit our data and our schema to ensure that what's returned aligns perfectly with that. So these are going to be converted into steps in a FlowForma form instance when I click build. And it's also recognizing our various different question types here and recommending the appropriate question type for each of these questions here. So I can see my questions here. for each step. And I might decide here to continue the conversation here. Maybe I might decide to say, for example, add 2 questions to each step and last response. And you'll see we've got 2 additional questions here. And this personally is the way I like to build, because I could say add 10 questions, add 12 questions. What I can do then is when I click build is I can decide what I want to remove. So if I'm happy with what's been returned by Agentic AI, I can click the build button here. What that's going to do is it's going to show me here in the right hand panel a preview of the process. So I can click through the various different steps here, and I can see exactly what Agentic AI has returned. So what you get back is obviously determined by what you put in. So the more precise your instructions are using natural language, the more accurate the process framework you get back is going to be for you. Now this is just an initial chat here. So I can have as many chats as I want here. So I'm going to go in and create a new chat here. So I don't have to, settle on that process. I might decide to do something else instead. So I'm going to actually go this time with a purchase requisition process. So it's a new chat. Now I can return to this chat at any point. And if I click build, it'll bring it into my designer here. And then I have my process built out essentially. I'm just going to continue with a few additional chats here first. This time I'm going to instruct it to create all steps in purchase requisition process. And again, in a few moments, here we go. So you'll see here, again, in 7 or 8 seconds, it's giving me back my steps here. So initiation, again, with the appropriate question types, approval, giving me approval options for my choice, all built out in seconds. So if I hit build, this is now the process I'm going forward with. So I can see all my various different steps. I can see all the information that's been put in place for me here. I'm going to do one last one here. And that's going to be an IT incident management process. So I'm going to create another chat. I'm going to go in and I'm going to paste through my instruction here and click on send message. And I'm going to, let's just say I'm happy with this straight away. I'm going to hit build. Now, once you are happy with it, what I can do now is I can switch across to designer mode here. I'm just going to save my progress. You can see here all the toolbar, all the various different functions here, editing, adding, and so on. And you have your summarization here and configuration here for defining and adding rules. So what I am going to do very quickly is just show you what it looks like to actually maybe build onto this, and also maybe add a business rule. So I've got my affected systems instance description and so on here. So what I might do is, let's have a look and see if my incident classification is. I'm just going to create a test form here. I want to see what's on this step. And what we're going to do is we're going to add an additional question and a business rule. So incident type. You see incident type here. We've got our drop down for other. What I want to do is add a question to capture what other is. And I'm going to add that question now in Designer, and I'm going to apply a rule to make it visible if other is chosen. So I'm going to close this. And I'm going to go into my first step here. I'm going to add just one question, or sorry, my second step rather. It's going to add one question called other incident. This is my question editor. I can leave it as a single line text if I wish. And I'm going to position this as my second question here. You'll see it's appearing here in our form preview. I'm going to hide that question. And that question will remain hidden unless a rule is put in place for the condition is fulfilled to make it visible. So I'm going to apply a rule here. And again, I can toggle off form preview here if I want, and I can have my rule config here on the right-hand side. My trigger point is here. So again, as I mentioned earlier, there's different trigger points in your form. You've got question change rules, so the trigger point is on that question here. So if incident type equals other, I want to show other incident. And then you have step level rules as well. So when the user's clicking submit or save, you can fire rules there too. So I'm going to go here to my trigger point, and I'm going to go to my add rules. Now, there's a lot to cover off here. We won't be covering it off today, but the depth of functionality is there for you. Workflow control rules you're going to be using quite a lot. You've all these data integration rules, you've communication rules, SharePoint actions, permissions, and we're going to be going into this one here in the second segment, which is our AI assistance, which is AI agent summarization. For the moment, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to use a very, very simple hide show question rule. I'm on my trigger question. I'm going into my condition. My condition is, if I drill down to my second step here, if incident type equals other. If that condition is fulfilled, I want to show other incident. And again, your rule condition can be as complex as it needs to be. And the action that falls out from that, should the condition be fulfilled, you could be showing some questions, hiding others, you could be enabling, disabling question controls, and so on. I've just added one rule very quickly here in one question. So if I were to create a test form here on that second step, and I go in here and I choose other as my incident type, I'm now asked what it is. If I change my mind, it's gone. So that is how quickly you can both build out a process using agentic AI and also make refinements to that if you need to. So I can go in, add a question, add rules, and I can do it very quickly. What's really important here is contextualization. It's a single build interface. I can see where my rules sit. I can see there's one rule sitting here. I can go into my rule from here. I can disable my rule, go in and edit my rule. You always have that context. Single build interface is as important as the fact that it's 100% no code. And the ability to be able to get to this point, have this framework and this build in place so quickly is a game changer. And it's going to massively improve the speed at which a business can get their processes digitized across the organization. So I'm going to go back into Copilot here, and I'm going to show you a couple of artifacts that I'm going to use to upload into our Copilot feature here. So far we've been using natural language. What we're going to do now is we're going to actually go in and we are going to use some artifacts instead. What we're going to use is, we're going to use our project change request form here. So this is a pre-existing form, and you can see here it's broken out into sections. So we've got our change description here, which is a section. Under priority, we have some choices, must have, nice to have. We've got our change impact step here and a final sign-off step here with approval, not approved, and deferred. So what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to upload this into Copilot, and I want it to return then the appropriate structure and the appropriate questions. So if I go in here and I create a new chat, I am going to attach that file, which is sitting here. And I am going to just give it a little instruction here as well. And I am going to click send. And again, 5-6 seconds from now, it's going to return framework of my builds with all the schema aligned, all the appropriate data types recognized. So if I hit build here, you'll see in my form preview, I've got my initial step here. I've got my compliance check. I've got my approval here. So again, just to show that we have our appropriate choices here, I'm just going to save this and I'm going to go in and create a test form. Just say, for example, just the final step here. You'll see here, I've got my approve, reject, defer. And again, I can make any refinements I need to that build. So I'm going to close out here. I'm going to go back in, and again, there's a rule here as well. It's added for compliance status, hide show non-compliance, which I need to just continue to configure, which is why that's showing up in that color. So I just need to finish off configuring that rule, but it's recognizing that a rule needs to be put in situ there. So I'm going to go back in here now, and I'm going to take a different artifact, and it's going to be a flow diagram this time. So it's a supplier onboarding flow diagram. That flow diagram obviously can be rendered in Visio, for example, or as you can see here, mine is hand drawn. I hope you can see that. It's request new supplier all the way through to supplier activation. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. So I'm going to go in and I am going to create a new chat, and I am going to add that. So to do so, I'm going to give one simple instruction here as well. So I'm going to bring my artifact through, and that is my customer onboarding or supplier onboarding. This one here, I've attached it, and now just one simple natural language instruction. And I'm going to send that through to Agentic AI, and it's going to return my framework. The beauty of this is that if you've got a lot of processes that are poorly defined, or you can't pin down the process owner, this is a really, really good starting point and allows you to kind of get the project up and running, get that digitization moving. So you can see here, using my various steps. If I'm happy with this, again, I can refine this using natural language, or I can hit build. Once I hit build, you'll see here it's recognizing all my steps and bringing through all of the suggested questions. So what I might do here is I might go in and say, add, say 5 extra questions to each step. What that allows me to do then is it allows me to have kind of a much broader range of questions in situ, and then I can remove what I want then in Designer here. So what we've covered off so far again is FlowForma copilot. It's the ability to use either natural language or an artifact such as a flow diagram or a form. That can be an image like a PNG or a JPEG or a PDF. You can upload that artifact and it will do all the heavy lifting for you. Or you can use what we did at the outset, use natural language and just build it up that way from the ground up. Again, hopefully you can see the turnaround time is exceptionally fast. This is ideal for processes that in the case of natural language are poorly defined, and in the case of processes that already have some sort of a structure or framework in situ, you could use a pre-existing form. If you don't really know what to put in each step, you could use a flow diagram. So you have all the various different choices available to you. It's giving end users the confidence to go and digitize. They don't have to have a depth of knowledge around how to do the refinements in Flow Designer if they don't need to. They can just carry on and get it to the point where it can be polished off by whoever the FlowForma in-house expert is. Again, as you can see, it's 100% no code. It's a single build interface you're working off, and it's an agile tool. You can build, refine, get it perfect, get your end user adoption really strong from the get-go. So what I'm going to move across to next is the second phase here, which is our AI agent and AI summarization. So I'm going to go in here to edit existing process flow. I already have an AI agent flow built. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through each step in this flow. So I'm just going to very quickly knock on form preview here for a moment and just talk a little bit about what's going to happen in each of these steps. So again, just as a reminder, what the AI agent essentially is like a personal assistant in your actual form here. So you can carry out instructions or actions on the behalf of the user and return a result. You're uploading an artifact, whatever that artifact might be. It might be PDF, it might be a Word document, whatever that is, wherever that comes from. It could be sent in from an external party, it can be picked up here, or it could be just uploaded on an ad hoc basis by the end user in the form. What it's going to do is it's going to look at the action you've requested and return a result based on the artifact that's uploaded. What you can do here is there's different ways you can work with this. You can either hard code in the instruction into the business rule, or you can pick it up from a question. So the questions and answers one here is going to allow your question here to serve as the instruction, whereas in this one here we've got it hard coded in. So I'm just going to show you the rule here. So this rule is sitting on this button here. We're uploading a file here, and then we're going to click this button. That's where the rule fires. Again, it's a question change rule. It's sitting on the trigger question. So if I toggle this off for a moment, you'll see there's a rule sitting on the trigger question. I can see it straight away. I'm going to go in and edit it here, and you'll see what this rule is going to do. So you have a few different sections in here that are relevant. So initially you've got your instruction or your sentiment, and then you have the message you want to communicate. So here you'll see, what are you telling the agent? You are an invoice processing agent who extracts data from invoices. It's a free text here, and the free text, this is the message here, as distinct from a value from a question where the user is going to input the message. We're hard coding it in here. So we're going to extract the supplier name, we're going to extract the invoice total amount and return that as a number and as a supplier name. Where are we going to get that from? It's going to be from the upload invoice file upload. The temperature is, I suppose, is in relation to how accurate the return is. 0.75 temperature is good. You want to get something that's creative and a reasonable response. If you go higher than that, it may not be accurate. If you go lower, accuracy can be affected as well. So you want to get this right. This is all about testing it and ensuring you're happy with the outcome. This is our recommended default value here. We're going to output the response here to the response question. If there is any kind of an issue, an error message here to the error output question. So I'm going to create a test form here. Before I do, let me just show you what the invoice looks like. Here's our invoice. We're going to be extracting the supplier name, and we're going to be extracting the total amount here. So it's market financial consulting, and total is 1,125. So that's what we want to see. So I'm going to create a test form. And again, remember this one's hard coded in. So I'm just going to upload here my invoice first. And then our rule fires here the moment I click this button. And you'll see here now in a moment, it'll return the response. So you can see here, it's picked up the supplier name and the invoice total amount. So this is all about driving efficiencies for the end user. It's a personal assistant. It's allowing agentic AI to go in and subject to your instructions, do the appropriate extraction and feed it through to you here. So that's the first example of a hard-coded one here. Then the second one is going to be the UBO report. So that's an ultimate beneficial owner report. So it's looking to see if a shareholder has got in excess of 25% of the total shares. So to show you that one, I'm going to just close this again here. And this is on the same step. This is our trigger point here. Get shareholder with more than 25%. And this is our rule. Here's our instructions. And here's what we want returned. And again, what you get returned from agentic AI, if you don't want it to be too chatty, you can be very, very explicit as to the information you want returned. So I'm saying here, do not return any other information. So just to show this one in action, let's take a look at the report first. And here it is. So you can see here, the only shareholder here that has an excess of 25% is this individual here, Alfred. And what we want to have extracted from this document is just his name and the percentage of shares relative to the issued capital. So I'm going to create a test form again here. And we're going to upload our UBO. I'm going to click on the get shareholders with more than 25%. And again, a few seconds from now, you're going to see agentic AI's response. Again, it's picked up Alfred. He's got more than 25%, and it's given a calculation as to the approximate shareholder he has, which is 43.4%. So next one we're going to move through to is questions and answers. So in questions and answers, we don't have a hard-coded message. What we're going to do instead is we're going to allow the user to put in that message and then get Agentic AI to return its recommendation or its sentiment or whatever the instruction is. So we don't know what's going to be uploaded here. And we're going to be uploading a variety of documents here just to give you a sense as to how effective this is. So I want to show you the rule first. So the instructions are much broader. So you are an agent who returns data from an uploaded document based on a question asked. So the question asked is going to be from your question on the form. So to show this in action, I'm going to create a test form here. And let's start off with looking at a CV. So let's take a look at the CV here. So this is a CV here for an individual called Mark Farrell. They're a software engineer. You'll notice there is no date of birth here. And you'll also notice as well there are gaps in his CV. So there's a gap between December 2021 and February 2022. So what we're going to do is we're going to allow the user of the form to put in a request and or an instruction and see what Agentic AI returns for us. So the first thing I might want to find out here about this individual is, are there any gaps in their CV? So I'm going to upload the CV here. Here's Mark's CV. And I'm going to paste through my question here. So I want to see, is there any gaps in months in the employment history of this candidate? I click Get Answer. In a few moments now, we'll see Agentic AI's response. And there is a gap. So there's a gap here. So again, it's able to go in and detect if there's a gap in the CV. Let's just say for the sake of argument, we want to see if this person is appropriate for the role. So maybe we place teachers. We want to know, is this candidate suitable for a role in teaching? And again, the response you get back, it's all down to how explicit your instruction is. So you can have a much more kind of verbose response, or you can have something very, very precise returned. Yeah, so it's picking up here that he doesn't have any teaching certs or philosophies listed, so he's probably not a good fit. So again, it's returned that to me very, very quickly. The last one I might ask here is, what age is the candidate? Again, there is no date of birth on the CV, but Agentic AI is going to go and calculate roughly based on their, when they attended high school and so on, as to what their likely age is. So again, you'll see here, approximately 29 years of age. So that's one example. Next one I'm going to go with is for a credit card statement. So here's a sample credit card bill here, or statement. And let's just say I want to find out what the current balance is, which is here, and the previous balance. So again, I'm able to go in, grab my artifact, which is here. And I'm just going to paste through my message here, click Get Answer. And again, you can see here, I want an explicit short response. You can see here, it's picked up the balance and the previous balance. I might want to understand if this individual should maximize their credit drawdown. Paste it through here. Let's ask. So again, you can see here it's giving me a good detailed response. And it's all about looking to refine your message here, either on an ad hoc basis here with your question or hard coding into your rules we've done here. So far what we've covered off with our AI agent is, again, the AI agent being a personal assistant for the end user of a form, is the ability to hard code in the instruction and message to agentic AI and get back your response for an invoice, for a UBO concentration report, allow the user to determine what that message is going to be and getting back a return, again, using a very general initial instruction. But you can see how effective that is. And finally, we're going to go to our third step here, which is sentiment analysis. So it's for agentic AI to return what it feels is the sentiment of going to be users' interaction with a form. So if I just close this out here and go back to my third step here. So again, this could be a survey. We could be using FlowForma Engage to allow an external party to fill that out using anonymous access, a single step. We could then go and gather this information on the next step, and we can determine how happy or unhappy this individual is based on the feedback from agentic AI. So this is where our rule sits. In this case, it's get sentiment. It's a button. And if I go in here, I'll just show you what that looks like. So again, our instruction is you're an AI assistant that evaluates customer sentiment. We want to summarize the survey results and provide a single sentence summarization. So with that in mind, I'm going to create a test form. So let's just say I'm not happy. Service wasn't good. I didn't find what I wanted. Wasn't easy. It was difficult. Would I recommend the shop to others? Not at all. So this is just a collation of the survey results here. First, you've got your question here together with the captured response. And then when I click Get Sentiment, so you can see it's a negative sentiment. They're not going to be recommending the shop to others. They're not a net promoter. So again, what we've covered off here under AI assistance rules is we've covered off AI agents. We've covered off the ability to hard code in the rule on our initial step. Allow the user to provide that message and instruction here, and then gather sentiment as well here. So what I want to cover off next in this section here is AI summarization. So AI summarization essentially allows you to generate a concise summary of your form at a moment in time and give you that snapshot of a process at that specific moment. So I'm going to go into pre-existing build and show the rule configuration here. And this is an IT incident management build. It was actually done using agentic AI, copilot. And what I did here was I added a couple of questions. So I added an AI summarization, multiple lines of text question, and a feedback, specific summarization feedback question on my second step. So once I have these two questions in place, I'll just toggle on so you can see them here. Once I have the AI summarization question in place, here's multiple lines of text and my feedback, like, dislike. All I need to do then is configure the rule. All the information has been collated on the initial step here. You know, what type of incident is it? What's the description? When did it happen? Who was it reported by? What's the impact level? And you'll see here the rule is in situ. There's a summarization rule here. If I edit it, you'll see how it's configured. So I'll just remove some of these here so you can see it. So all I'm doing is I'm adding my input questions. So I might choose add priority. I might choose to add impact level. I already have that. I'll strip that out there. So I can decide what the input questions are. It might be across multiple steps you're gathering this information. It might simply be on one step. The summarization you're getting from agentic AI is going to be fed through to my output question on the second step. And then I've got a feedback question to allow me to determine whether or not I'm happy with that summarization. I want to use it going forward, say, for example, to apply to conditions in rules, for example. So that summarization in turn could be bolted onto an email, it could be embedded in an email, it could be embedded in a generated document, and so on. You can decide how you want to use that. So I'm going to create a test form here just to show it in action. So we're on our initial step. I'm going to choose an incident type. Let's go with cyber attack. Date and time of incident. So you could set this to today, default day, very quick and easy to do. I'm going to select today. I'm going to pick a time reported by me. Again, you can set this to default to the user. Impact level, it's high. No action taken so far. Again, this is all done using Copilot, this actual IT incident management process. And in the instructions for Copilot, in this instance, I actually asked it to include a repeating table so I could add affected services dynamically here. I could even change this to a lookup and pull the information through from a list if I wanted to. Priority is high. I could upload an attachment here. I could annotate over an image. When I click submit, it's moving through from my step onto the next step. So we'll leave my desk and go through to incident classification. So when I click submit, it's leaving my desk. And if I go into my all forms here, I'll just pick it up here. You'll see here the summarization. Again, if I like that, I can then use this going forward. I might have business logic, condition and a rule using the fact that this was equal to like, and that would impact the rest of the process going forward. Again, very, very useful. You can collate information across multiple steps. You might have a 20-step process where this information that you need to have visibility of at a moment in time is gathered across 19 steps prior to yours. You want to be able to have that visibility very, very quickly, and the AI summarization rule using agentic AI helps facilitate that. So I think that's it in terms of the live demo and masterclass. I hope it's been of benefit. We've covered off quite a lot of ground. It's all about empowering process owners by using agentic AI to build out process in a matter of minutes as opposed to hours and days. It's allowing digitization across your organization at pace, and it's also making the FlowForma form end user experiences much better as well, because they're able to use AI agent to extract information from artifacts rather than have to trawl through pages and pages of documentation, for example. And AI summarization, again, as you can see here, giving you that snapshot at a moment in time, again, is very beneficial for the end user. So I'll hand across to you there, Hannah.
Thanks so much, Dave. That was really exciting. I would say very beneficial for everyone to see. So just bear with me and I'll share my screen with you guys one more time. There we go. So just a quick poll as well for everyone. Just post demonstration there. We will have some questions. You're able to ask your questions in a couple of minutes. So let's see. So what's the primary reason you're exploring AI-powered process automation? Is it you're looking to reduce manual work? Are you looking to increase speed and efficiency, minimizing errors or improving accuracy, improving customer and employee experiences, or compliance? You can select a couple if you're interested in different ones, and will share the results from this poll as well. Dave might have some input as well for yourselves. And I'll just leave it up for one more second there. Perfect. I am going to share the results now there, Dave, if you can see them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see what
Yeah.
came out at the top. increasing speed and efficiency, and then reducing manual work looks like the
Mm.
top ones there.
Yeah, so I mean, increasing speed and efficiency, it's everything from the ability to digitize a process quickly, um, make refinements to it quickly.
Mhm.
So obviously, if you're able to align what your process definition is with end user expectations, that's going to drive efficiency and power end user adoption. Bringing in AI agents, for example, is going to reduce your manual work as well because the end user isn't going to have to trawl through documentation. They can use AI agents and AI summarization to give them visibility of what they need at a moment in time whilst they're interacting with a FlowForma form. So yeah, so all very insightful.
Perfect. And I'll just hand it back over to you to look at the roadmap for what's next with AI and FlowForma.
Yeah, sure. So AI assistants start at the top there. So very exciting one here is the ability to ask agentic AI how to configure a rule, for example. So we already have an online help section on Confluence, but this gives you a lot more flexibility and agility around what it is you want to find out. You can find out immediately and surface up the information using an AI assistant, all the way through to how you configure your physical process builds, um, post using, say, a FlowForma agent like copilot to build out your process. It's going to guide you through the final configuration of that process as well. So two very, very powerful features in the AI assistants. So moving through to the second section there, the action section there. This is about kind of, if you've got a form that maybe is a very, very simple form, you know, like I'd like to make an insurance claim. If it's a very, very simple form, one of the ways you might look to do this is going to be with a kind of a very, very simple pared back natural language UI. So the user just put in that request, and agentic AI would recognize the fields that need to be filled out and surface those up in a very, very simplified kind of a form interface. So that's very exciting as well because it's all about kind of making an interaction with forms and workflows to be as accessible and as usable for end users as possible. End user adoption is integral to any kind of a digital transformation journey and acceleration. So on to our third one there, process discovery. So again, if you're looking to see if you can find ways to kind of digitize, maybe you don't know quite where to start, you can use your pre-existing documentation around processes and procedures and look to get agentic AI to suggest potential process that you can digitize. So again, you know, sometimes you may not know exactly where to start, but if you can use agentic AI to trawl through your resources, your documentation, and recommend and surface up processes that way, it's going to help kind of accelerate your digitization journey. Finally, there are autonomous multi-agents. So multi-agents, that is agentic AI in its purest form, where these agents communicate with each other without any human intervention. Again, it's all about having kind of these AI agents working on your behalf in the background and driving efficiencies and helping kind of achieve your kind of digitization goals without tying up kind of end users in admin, for example, type kind of costs and overheads that aren't necessary that can be picked up by agentic AI.
And now we're just going to have a quick Q&A. I know we're going to be running out of time very soon, but if you have any questions, throw them in the chat box and we will get back to them directly after the webinar as well. So just in case we miss out on any of them. So let's see what we have. And you're still with me there, Dave, are you?
I'm indeed, yeah.
Perfect. If you want to pop on your camera there, if you do have it on.
Sure.
Perfect. Okay, let's see. So Jenny is asking, what type of process diagrams or forms can I upload to Copilot, and are there specific formats that are supported?
Yeah, so if it's an image, for example, it can be JPEG or PNG. You can also use PDFs as well. So if it's a flow diagram, it's typically going to be a PNG or a JPEG. If it's a form, it could be PDF, so you
Perfect.
can use those.
And then we also have another question. So Dermot is saying he has a backlog of processes to automate.
Mhm.
Thinking maybe FlowForma, Copilot could be useful for this. Any tips on where to start even?
I think quick wins. So quick win for the organization and more importantly, a quick win for the end user. So any processes that end users are finding very frustrating, they're usually a very, very good starting point because you want to have strong end user adoption. Once you get that, then it almost grows organically within the organization because users say, do you know what? I filled out a form using FlowForma for a process that was incredibly frustrating. We could use that in our department for A, B, C, and D.
Perfect. And then we have a good couple of questions, so we probably won't get around to all of them, but we'll try our best. We have Mike as well. They're wondering, is it easy to modify or update workflows once they've been deployed?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. So you could see there how easy it is to make changes to pre-existing build. When I added a business rule there to determine what the impact level was in the incident management process, we have a governance hub as well, which allows you to have environments provisioned. So you can have a sandbox environment, a UAT environment, and a production environment. So if anything's been changed or refined, that can be done in a sandbox, brought through to UAT, and then into production. That can all be controlled by IT. They can decide what gets promoted and when and by whom.
And then we also have another question saying, what kind of reporting and analytic capabilities does FlowForma offer?
Yeah, so FlowForma has an Insights BI tool. The beauty of that BI tool is that the data that you surface up in your charts is effectively real time. So once data is captured in FlowForma, and incidentally, I don't know if this was covered off earlier, but FlowForma obviously is installed in SharePoint Online as part of your Office 365 environment. All the data lives within your own tenancy. Once data is captured in a FlowForma form instance, that data is automatically pushed through into your own Azure SQL environment instantaneously, and then it's picked up by your pre-existing charts. You've added a box process performance related charts that are available straight away off the bat using Insights, and then you can build your own business data charts as well. You can also use if you use a Power BI, that's absolutely fine as well. Whatever BI tool you use, the data is available to you.
And then we do have a couple more questions, but I don't think we're going to have time for the rest of them, but we will follow up with you guys. So if you're sitting here and you're thinking, what's next? How do I bring this back to my team? We have two simple steps, either one. So we have the 7-day free trial. So you get 7 days of self-service to FlowForma AI, and you can start building your own workflows straight away with no strings attached. You don't need a credit card, anything like that. Or you can have a tailored demo, which is really exciting. So if you want something more personalized, you can share one of your existing processes with us and we'll automate it in advance and then we'll show you live like a show and tell for yourself and your team. So we can turn your automation ideas into action and starting today. But yeah, thanks so much, Dave, for joining us. We will have a survey, a short one at the end, you can opt in those for those next steps, so that free trial or that bespoke demo. And if you have any questions at all, you're more than welcome to get on to us through info@flowforma.com or any of our socials or anything like that. We'd be happy to help. But I really hope you enjoyed today's masterclass. I thought it was really interesting and really exciting. And thank you so much, Dave, for being our leader today.
Thanks, Hannah. Thank you, everybody.
Bye bye. Have a nice day, guys.
Sure.
Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.